Yorushka, second person, we are here for the final track of the album. And you know what? This is one that I'm both excited but slightly intrigued by because this has been such a long album. It's been such an incredible journey. We're through to track number 22, To the Sea. It's the final song. And I've been really impressed so far how much this album really feels not just like a bag of songs, even though I know it was obviously created over a fair period of time. And how the concept developed. You guys have told me so wonderfully in the comments about so many things that Nabin has done on various songs, and like I say, how the concept of the album has developed. But I'm just impressed that this really feels like an album. And one of the reasons why I'm so intrigued by the ending of this album is because obviously the album started really interestingly with an intro song. And then we kind of built up from there. And it's a slow building album, but it made a very interesting, clear statement by starting with an intro, setting up the mood. Now, when we did the reaction to Kai, the penultimate song before, I was so sure that To the Sea must actually just be like an outro rather than an actual song that I looked it up on Google, and well, let's put it this way: Google AI told me that, yeah, don't worry, To the Sea is a lyrically driven final song. And that just has me thinking, a full lyrically driven 2 minute long song, which I think makes it the shortest song on the album as well. Yeah, easily the shortest song of the album. I'm intrigued because usually when I think about, I'm a big fan of albums that are structured as albums that have a proper beginning, middle, and ending, and feel like a journey. But when I think about finishing songs that are really short, it's either blasting final punk songs, which I don't think this is going to be somehow. I might be wrong. Or songs that go out on a very mellow, gentle, quiet note. Just kind of like that final little song you play as like the curtain call, that final little piece of music that goes out in a very gentle way. So in a way, I feel like this is going to be a gentle ending to the album. But I'm genuinely intrigued to see what we get from this one. I'm genuinely interested to see because this album has been such a journey. I will say that it's had its ups and downs, but it's had more ups than anything. And as you guys know, my intention after this is I will be very soon afterwards, in the next few days, starting a track-by-track reaction to the debut Yorushka album. So we're going to get the full contrast of going from not the end of the career, their most recent contemporary release, all the way back to the release that started it off. And do you know what? I haven't even looked up the name of that album yet. So I've got to do all of that. I've got to prep for that. And I'm excited. But anyway, first things first, let's finish this off. This is the last song from Second Person. It's called, let me check again, To the Sea. And then he called it By the Sea. Let's give it a listen and see how they wrap this one up. Certainly is the gentle ending. The whole tone. I keep using the word tangible for this album. You can really feel this one, can't you? Not what I expected, but wow. That was genuinely. Oh, I love that you heard the hands releasing off of the fretboard there. I'll stop it before it goes on to play the next song. As in the next album. I will say, I want to talk about how that beautiful that is, but first things first, yeah. Proof if you ever needed that AI doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. It's a lyrically driven song, don't worry. Yeah, I don't think it was. Look, this actually, both want to talk about this song, but this also actually recontextualizes Kai a lot. This really recontextualizes the song before in a big way. Oh, sorry about that. Still recovering from being ill the other week. So honestly, when it comes to this, first of all, just talking about this piece on its own, I do think it's actually worth speaking about on its own as an outro, because it's really taking, as I mentioned, that one word that I feel is an adjective that I like to use a lot when talking about certain sounds in music, or a certain effect in music, and it's an adjective that I feel I want to use constantly throughout this album, which is that idea of being tangible. What I mean by that is that I'm a big fan of production. I love lots of experimental production, heavy production. I don't have a problem with compression if it's used properly. I am happy to hear any creative tool be used. And yet there is something, and obviously we're talking about Yoroshika, we got Nabano, we got a person who came up through Vocaloid writing. So this is clearly a person who's not afraid of that either. And yet he... from what you guys have told me, very much focused on giving this album that sound that I would describe as being tangible. In other words, everything here is designed not necessarily for the ultimate impact, or not necessarily to... Sorry, my phone is right by the microphone making that noise. It's not necessarily designed to give everything the most impactful, rounded balance. Instead, each instrument is just supposed to sound as real and as in front of you as possible. That doesn't always work when you have a big, loud band or very heavily... Shut up! Sorry, I don't know if you can hear my phone. Or very heavily layered music. However, in this case, this is an album that is structured very much from having a lot of sparse sounds that are given room to breathe. And so really for this particular album, that feeling of everything being made to sound tangible has been front and center. And this piece, as a closing, really feels like the most simple embodiment of that. One instrument, given all the time to breathe, nothing else over the top of it, a beautiful, atmospheric, emotional piece of guitar playing that winds down the album, and where you hear everything of the guitar. I mean, guitar compared to a drum kit or a piano, there's less working parts to listen to and to give like that round, full-bodied sound that maybe is so pronounced on the rest of the album. And yet a guitar in itself is still a machine that you can hear all the beautiful creaks and groans of, and you can hear the lifting of the hands off the fretboard. So for me, this is like a very gentle, small scale celebration of the sound of the album. Now I'm going to quickly check my phone, and I'm going to talk about how this recontextualizes the ending of the album. I just checked it. I think it's going to ring a lot more. So just tolerate the notification sounds in the background. Alright, if you're hearing them at all. But, okay, so in terms of the album, the reason why this is interesting for recontextualizing things is because I had said when I listened to Kai previously, or Paddle as the name translates, that it really felt to me like an album closing kind of song. You know, it felt like a song that, even down to the video, was referencing in certain bits of melody and chord patterns and just all the things it was doing. It was referencing all the things we'd heard before. It felt like it was bringing the album to a close by kind of being that look back at everything we've been through on the journey of the album. I know that sounds so artsy, but I think you get kind of my point. Sometimes the best way to conclude things is by kind of wrapping up all the things you've heard before. And it did feel like that. You know, the music video felt like that. The song felt like that. It didn't feel like the most fresh, original, or surprising song of the album. It just felt like an album that nicely capped off everything prior. So I was really surprised to see there was another song after it. But now knowing that this is just kind of a wind down, an outro, yeah, that actually is quite a nice, peaceful way of looking at it. Really, that Kai was the final song, and To the Sea is just kind of the okay, you've heard that, everything's been concluded. This is kind of like the credits rolling up. This is that moment where you just get to sort of unwind, relax. It's like, okay, this is the moment as everyone sort of stands up to walk out of the cinema, but just kind of does it with the beautiful sound of the closing soundtrack playing as the titles roll up. It's that kind of piece. Kind of returns you from the world of second person to the real world. Gives you that beautiful playing out. And so in a way, actually, I think that increases my appreciation of the song directly before, whilst also making me feel like this is a really nice album closer. So anyway, those are my thoughts as always. As I say, we'll be starting on the next album very soon. But as always, get in the comments and let me know what you think. And until I hopefully see you very soon, either in the next video or on the track by track listen through to their debut album, or wherever it may be. If you follow us in the Discord, please do. And as always, just a little reminder, this channel is not monetized. However, I never usually say this, but as we're right at the end of a track by track listen through, and as you've got to the end of this with me, if you have been enjoying this, please do consider donations through things like PayPal. The links are down below. I have a Patreon. There's not really much I can offer, but I appreciate the support. We even have like Western Union for people who want to send money to me without getting taxed by a company. But look, anyone who wants to support the channel is greatly appreciated. I already had some wonderful support from someone very, very kind within the Yorushika community, which is really been great as well. So just wanted to say a big thank you to all of you for being here. Thank you for enjoying this series. Until I hopefully see you wherever it may be. Until then, for now. Ciao, ciao.